So it's rare that I play a modern game day one these days, but being a longtime RPG fan, that's exactly what I did with Expedition 33. I just really needed to figure out if it was worth all the hype, and I've got some thoughts. So I used to be a huge RPG fan. I still am for the most part, but way back when RPGs were pretty much the only thing I played, pretty much from like Super Nintendo all the way through the majority of what I played for the PlayStation 1 and the little bit into the PS2. I was RPG heavy. I mean, with the occasional fighting game here or there, or wrestling game, something like that, pretty much all I played with RPGs. And although I have played a few of them since I started getting back into gaming, this one really stood out to me. And what really caught my attention was that the gameplay mechanic, or the fighting mechanic in particular. When I first saw it, I was super excited to learn more and see how this thing all came together, and we'll get into more of that as we go on here. When you first start up this game, right away it hits you right in the feels. I'm not going to give any spoilers throughout this review, if that's what you want to call it, but yeah, something big kind of happens. I will talk about the overall story arc, which I don't think is a big surprise to anybody at this point, but it's really unique, and I really got sucked into it like right away. If you're not familiar, there is a paintress basically that paints this number on this big stone thing and she counts it down every year. So each year she counts down one number, and everybody that's of that age essentially vanishes or passes away. And now, hence Expedition 33, they're doing she's gonna paint 33, or she did paint 33, I don't remember, something like that. And she will so then these expeditioners all come together and they go and try and defeat the paintress so they don't all get wiped out the next year again. So yeah, I thought that piece of it was really cool, and it does, like, right off the bat, the game will suck you right in. They also do a pretty good job of helping you along right off the bat. Like, the tutorial system is pretty good. There wasn't a time that I remember where I felt confused on what I was supposed to do or how the fighting mechanics worked or any of that kind of stuff. They just, right away, you get into fights with different people just to kind of show you how all that works and gives you an idea of how to run, your basic gameplay mechanics, which in something like this, I really appreciate getting that stuff out of the way sooner rather than later so I can just enjoy the experience. And they do a really good job of that here. The overall structure of the game is pretty linear with there's a few side quests that you can do. I'm honestly trying to remember if I did any of them, and I don't think I really did. So they are 100% not necessary. And none of them actually really called to me either to do. And I'm not a completionist by any stretch of the imagination, so if I do a side quest in a game, it kind of has to, I don't know, like, compel me to do so. And I went through this whole game without doing any of the side quests, or if I did one or two of them or a handful, whatever, it really wasn't much. Yeah, they're not necessary. You'll have to tell me in the comments if they were worth doing at all, because I'm obviously lazy and didn't feel like it. The overall game loop, though, is really pretty good. You basically, you do have an overworld, and it takes a little bit to get there, but you get to this overworld, and in the overworld you have a map that shows a little compass thing, and it tells you kind of exactly where to go, which I really do appreciate. And once you get there and you complete your objective, it brings you back to camp, which then gives you the option to kind of chat with the rest of your party members, heal up. It also does a lot of story progression when you're in the camp in between objectives, which was kind of nice. And the other thing that I really liked about going back to the camp was Usually some of these boss battles that you have to do for an objective, they can be really, really long. You can easily have like 20 minutes, half hour battle with some of these bosses that you run into. So the distraction after that to just go back to camp and chat with your fellow mates is really welcome to me anyway. And you can do things in camp like upgrade your weapons. There's a vendor there where you can buy stuff if you want to, because it's like they do a lot of your typical RPG stuff. There's money that you can find. I forgot what they call it off the top of my head, but you can find money. And I never remembered like being at a point where I ran out of money or didn't have enough to buy something that I wanted. So yeah, you can upgrade your weapons, kind of take your time and upgrade your stats, things like that. And like I said, after a big long boss battle, it's a welcome break before you move on. Getting into the story a little bit, the story was good and it starts out hot, like the overall premise of it and everything. I was super intrigued and couldn't wait to get more into this. And the story does progress nicely and it does keep you intrigued throughout the entire game. However, with some of the things, if this game does have a downside, I didn't really find any big connection with any one character that I usually do in RPGs. Nothing was bad, but just nothing was really like pulled at your heartstrings for me anyway. Even the overall, I mean, again, not spoiling anything here, but the overall story arc as it gets deeper and deeper for me kind of really got a little convoluted to the point where I was like, am I even really understanding this, or am I just dumb, or I didn't really know what was going on. They do put a nice bow on it at the end though, so you do understand what happened and what's going on. But I don't know, the story was good, but it wasn't the highlight of the game, at least for me. The art style in this game though was absolutely stunning. There were some quirks I saw, like especially with just like the regular humans here and there. But outside of that, that's being super nitpicky, by the way. Outside of that, though, like the enemy design and the other character designs throughout the world are super super cool. Like honestly, unlike anything that I've ever played before, especially in like a turn-based RPG, they did an awesome job. I mean, and just to think that this is just a team of like, I don't remember, I think it's like 30 people that put this thing together. You got to remember, this is an indie title. And what they were able to accomplish with the overall aesthetics of this game with such a small team was super super impressive. I'm racking my head trying to think of something to compare it to, and I really can't. You really have to check that piece out for yourself. It's just, yeah, the art direction, the art style, the graphics overall were super amazing. And then to top that off, the music in this game is almost better than the overall art style, but man, it lends itself to the art style beautifully. I can't, I would play this game just to listen to the music. It is so well done. I mean, from everything from the battle sequences just to walking around, and there's vocals in most of it too, which really brings it to life. There's got to be a soundtrack out there somewhere that you can purchase for this, and yeah, it would be totally worth it. Yeah, I can't talk highly enough about just the overall presentation, the graphics, and sound. But with all that, the graphics and overall presentation, the music being amazing, the best part for me is the gameplay, the actual battle system for me is, man, I mean, I hope all RPGs from here going forward rip this thing off, because I love turn-based RPGs and this one just takes it up that little bit to make it a little bit more difficult, but not only more difficult, but also gives you a sense that you are actually accomplishing something in every single battle. And I tell you, there's not many easy battles. It's not like, you know, how if you play RPGs in the past, you always have some places where you can go and just button mash or practically ignore it and get through the battle no problem. That is not the case with this game. So to break it down, if you're unfamiliar, it's basically a turn-based battle system, right? Except there's all these like timing events that happen. So when you do like a special move, you can hit your button at a certain time during it, and you'll even see like a little reticle that'll show up that'll say, hey, hit A button here, then hit A button here again, and you'll do more damage when you're doing special moves like that, which is really cool. If you've ever played like Super Mario RPG, it's kind of similar to that, honestly, but it's way better than that, and there's way more to it. So defensively, there's three different things that you can do. You can either dodge out of the way when they go to attack. You can parry, which then automatically counterattacks, or once in a while the boss will do some kind of move where you have to jump over it, and then there's a jump, and then you can parry. Oh, and there's one more too. I forgot what they call it right off the top of my head, but it's like the thing goes gray and you have to hit like the R2 button or whatever. So it's like a different type of parry. And I'm sorry, it's escaping me right now, the actual name of it. But yeah, so there's basically 4 different defensive moves that you have to pay attention to. Basically, every attack you can either dodge or parry. Parrying gives you that automatic counter attack, where dodging is a little bit easier to do and even a little bit more forgiving. So if you dodge once and miss, you can kind of hit the button again real quick and dodge again, and sometimes actually still get out of the way, which is really kind of nice. For me, I pretty much tried to parry every single move, and I don't know if it's like my love for the game Dragon's Lair that really sucked me into this whole timing aspect of it, but the sense of accomplishment you get from figuring out these enemies' move sets and then being able to parry at the right time, it's like nothing else. Even in the most basic battles, after winning the battle, you feel like, dude, I actually did that. I accomplished this feat. It's hard. It's really hard to explain, but unless you play it, and I encourage, even if you're not an RPG fan, or if you're, totally hate turn-based games, you still need to at least give this one a try. I mean, the game's on Game Pass, so you can play it for essentially nothing if you have a subscription there. It's so worth it. I absolutely fell in love with these mechanics, and yeah, I hope from here on out, please, all RPG pay them a license fee, do anything. This battle system is top notch, second to none. I hope more and more companies use it, or at least something similar to this. It's not a super lengthy game. It took, I don't know, I want to say it was like 30 hours or so I put into it. I finished it off. Maybe I was at level 50, right around there. I could have been a little less, to be honest. I'm trying to remember, but it's somewhere in there. So it's not a super lengthy game, but for me, 30 to 40 hours, and I guess you can stretch it to 40 hours if you did like all the different side stuff, which I don't really think there was that much of it anyway, but regardless, 30 to 40 hours for me for a game is really kind of my sweet spot. If I can go start to finish 30 hours, I'm a very happy camper, because my backlog is ridiculous and I'm trying to get to some of it. So 30 hours, great, have no complaints with that. The overall difficulty in this one wasn't too terribly bad. There were a couple spots where I just missed beating a boss or something like that, and that part can get a little frustrating, but it doesn't get frustrating like you want to rage quit. It gets you blood pumping like you just want to go right back in and try it again. The only problem is some of these bosses do take about a half an hour to get through, so there's a little bit of time suck that goes into it, but yeah, overall difficulty, it wasn't too terribly bad. You learn from your mistakes and you go back into the battle the next time, understanding how it all works and everything else. So yeah, it's, I would say it's kind of that middle of the road. I think there are difficulty settings. I didn't set mine, so I'm assuming I played it on normal. I don't know. And it was just, yeah, difficulty not that bad. You can get through this one, no problem. Like I said earlier, if there's anything that I had to nitpick about this game or something that I didn't really like was the overall story towards the end. Although it started out super strong and I really liked it, towards the end it got a little bit too, I don't know, just too weird. Like, yeah, I started to not understand it, but then I did understand it. And then I'm trying not to give anything away here, but yeah, after the whole thing was done, it was still good. It was a good story, but wasn't the game's strong suit. So if I could nitpick anything about this one, that would be it. So would I recommend this game to anybody? Yes, absolutely. I think you owe it to yourself to give this one a try. Just pick it up for an hour or two, and if you hate it, fine, but I'd be surprised. This one feels like it's almost could be that gateway for people that don't like to play RPGs, that could bring you over to the dark side. So yeah, I totally recommend this game. This game is for, it's for anyone, to be honest. You just give it a try. Give it a couple hours. Yeah, it's definitely one of the better games that's out there right now, period. But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts were of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Am I totally off? Did you have a different opinion about it? Seriously curious. So thanks everybody for checking out my review. We'll see you in the next video. Oh wait, do all this YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, the bell, the question mark. You know how nobody cares. See you next time. Late.